come true. As we've gone through this process, this was the only one. This was the only one that we saw, man, this could be a place that we could be here for a while, right? This is the type of place that ultimately you want to try to help and build and make it better. And that's why you coach. You coach to try to help players reach their highest potential to win.
This was a moment of progress, optimism, and confidence that we will achieve the ultimate goal as long as we have the right man. And number two, that man was Liam Coen. Liam's outstanding body of work speaks for itself. Quarterback development is the bedrock of modern NFL, and Liam has delivered that wherever he's coached.
Hey guys, this is Liam Coen, just touched down in Jacksonville. Let's get this thing started off right here. 3, 2, 1.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, Tony, if at first you do succeed, stick with the first Duval and don't try a second one unless you're fully invested in it.
Second one had the nerves going, it seemed like.
Something, or Liam Coen was expecting, is this the appropriate setting, or am I going to get it given back to me? I don't know. Does anytime anyone says Duval automatically get a reply on this program generally? But this is not a reflection of real life. Welcome to Jacksonville officially. Liam Coen and his family, wife, sons, extended family, a bunch of folks down here yesterday for the unveiling of the Jaguars' newest coach, Tony. And as we said yesterday, our Tuesday top five, look, there's plenty of time to pick apart Liam Coen, why he may not be the answer, and we'll find out. And guess what? No matter anything we say before those games kick off in September, October, November, December, really doesn't matter all that much. We can reflect and have our opinions, and that's all they are. But at least for today, I'm looking for a little bit of optimism on why you think this might be a step in the right direction. It is, anytime you get change, you hope that new breeze is going to blow in and clean out everything that was bad, retain the good, and fulfill all the promises that you feel like are made or that come with hiring a nice, new, fresh offensive mind to come in here. We know it's probably not going to be a direct line path, smooth sailing as much as we'd like it to be.
Probably not. And look, I have come to believe that coaches don't win opening press conferences. I think that kind of statement's just dumb. I don't know how you win a press conference, right? I think you can lose it. Like Adam Gase looked like he took a couple of shots of speed and then stepped to a microphone, and it looked like he lost the press conference, right, to open up his tenure there with the Jets. But
couple of shots of speed, just
popped a couple of, and he was like, we're doing it now.
Tony is so not a drug guy.
I don't do any
tell.
I don't do any of it.
Give me a couple of, hey bartender, a couple of shots of that there, your finest speed, please.
But he did. He looked cracked out, like when he stepped to the microphone. And like Liam didn't have any of that, right? Yesterday felt like a pretty standard, we're introducing a new coach press conference to me. Like that's what that whole thing felt like. And we'll go through our top fives and where we feel whatever we feel about what's going on with the team going forward. And I'm curious to hear yours and hear some of the fans as well, how they're reacting to it. But I do think the press conference thing is a way overused statement. I think you can lose it. I don't think he came close to losing like the press conference yesterday. So good on that account, I guess, would be my reaction to the whole thing overall yesterday. All right, we got through. He's now the head coach, and we'll see how the players react to him as we go forward from here.
Yeah, and, part of it is we saw some of the frontline players, they're not like, obviously, Gabe Davis didn't have a big season, but he's going to be here, overwhelmingly likely this year. Trevor Lawrence was at the press conference. Christian Kirk, Tank Bigsby, Foye Oluokun was there. So some of the invested team leaders were there to welcome in their guy. Trevor Lawrence did express a preference for a young offensive coach. Well, that's what you got, right? And now hopefully he's a good young offensive coach. I know what his track record is. I know what his resume is, but there have been phenomenal resumes that have failed. There have been so-so resumes that have surprised the hell out of us, right, in a positive direction over the history of the National Football League. And you're really not going to know until he gets those pieces moving together. What do they do in terms of the front office? As we learned yesterday, or continued to hear more as the day went on. Tony Baselli talked about it on the drill. They're going to prioritize putting that coaching staff together. They've now had a couple of interviews for defensive coordinators. Patrick Graham, I think this is a good sign. Tone, I don't know much about Patrick Graham, personally, but the fact that he was interviewing to be the head coach here in Jacksonville, got a second interview, and, there was some of that, the timing of all this was to make sure that they complied with the Rooney Rule. That's a reality that you have to do that, but that interview was already scheduled with Patrick Graham. And they didn't think Liam Coen was going to be a factor at that point. He had moved on. And so, obviously, they tried to lure him back, and they were successful doing so. But whatever Patrick Graham heard about the organization, and the opportunity to be a head guy, I think, to me, probably difficult to interview for the top job and then say, well, I'll go to the same place and I'll come in a rung or two below that. And, instead of being able to put all my philosophies into play on the entirety of the team, I'm just going to continue to do what I've done, be a defensive-minded coach. But the fact that the Jags have interest in him and he agreed to interview for the defensive coordinator position, I take that as a good sign that he's not, turned off by the organization. I don't know if they're going to hire Patrick Graham or not. Some people think he's the leading candidate. He's certainly among the candidates. He's only one of two names that we've heard so far, but I hope this whole thing comes together quickly. I'm glad it looks like they're keeping Heath Farwell at special teams coordinator. Yeah. So there are plenty of holes to fill. One thing that John Shipley did report, they're definitely not keeping Press Taylor, Ryan Nielsen, or Phil Rauscher. Well, I mean, it needs to be said, though, officially, right? People need to hear that. Not that we ever suspected that would be the case. You were brought in to effect some sweeping change. And, yesterday, Liam Coen emphasized the importance of that offensive line several times yesterday. And what they've been getting out of it the last few years at times has been adequate in pass protection this past year. But in terms of pushing people around in the run game, that's been few and far between of the instances of that.
Well, and along the same lines of, is it really necessary to ask Liam Coen if he's going to be the guy calling the plays? Not really. We all know he's going to be the guy calling the plays, but it's still, you ask him so that he can say, yes, he is. Right? And it's the same thing with the other assistant coaches that were around here. Heath Farwell's the only one anyone's interested in bringing back, it seems. So, yeah, he would be the one that you're like, hey, what's going on with that? Is because he did. Liam specifically talked about they were good on special teams. I was watching what they did. They look good on special teams. He mentioned it, which, sets it up. It's like they've obviously reached out to the guy who was doing that to see if he's willing to stay. I don't know why he would say that at the press conference unless they're already moving forward with this guy's going to be back in the building. Right. That's the plan, that kind of thing. But, yeah, I would expect all the other assistant coaches. There might be a couple guys on the staff that hang around that were further down the ladder. I don't know how exactly that's going to look, but yeah, the actual coordinators, no. There'd be no reason to bring them back outside of Farwell.
All right, a couple of things on the agenda today. We will hear a good bit from Liam Coen from his introductory press conference, also from his conversation on the Frangie Show with Frank Frangie yesterday, which, man, they put, I don't know if you watched it as well as listened to it.
Son, man.
But that sun,
in his eyes.
he was scooting that chair, man, come on, guys. You're killing me over here with the setup. But we got it in, and we're not going to play the entirety of either the press conference or Frank's interview. You can go back on demand and listen at 1010XL.com and the YouTube page, and you can find it all over the place. And that's how I actually listened to it on the Jaguars or the 1010XL YouTube page. You can find the Frank Frangie conversation with Liam Coen there. So today's question of the day is on optimism. What are the things that give you hope that Liam Coen is going to be able to get this turned around here in Jacksonville? So we're asking you for your top 5 reasons for optimism with Liam Coen coming in as the head coach. And granted, we don't really know if these things are going to be fulfilled. But we're going on hope, and what we, here's what I can envision playing out for this guy, because that's what we have right now. We don't have a lengthy coaching history. We don't have a head coaching resume. He's been in a lot of stops at a lot of places, and he explained some of that yesterday as, chasing opportunities to be a primary play caller. And having done that now at the National Football League level, Tony, he's going to call plays here, as he made clear. It's a lot for a first-time head coach, so we'll see who he's able to bring in to fill out the staff that he's able to lean on a little bit for their expertise, much like we do with Dylan Denmark every day. Good morning, Dylan Denmark.
Good morning, Michael.
So tomorrow's our last day with you this week. Is that right?
Emmanuel Thalloran is taking over the program Thursday and Friday.
I can't wait till Thursday, man. It's going to be good. But that's fantastic. We have Matt Miller from ESPN tomorrow.
Yes.
For our draft talk, midweek draft talk.
10:20.
Do that's 10:04. Good buddy. 10:20 time-wise. Yes, tomorrow on the program. So he'll join us early. We'll do our Wednesday mock draft. So if you want to play along, you can go to ProFootballNetwork.com and do your own simulated mock, which you can knock out in practically no time flat, just a couple of minutes if you're so inclined to do that. And today, the Tuesday Top 5 are reasons for optimism. Aubrey Pleasant has been interviewed for the Jaguars defensive coordinator position. The team just announced in the last 10 minutes. So yet another interview. So this process is moving along quickly, Tony. He's identified guys that he wants to work with, he wants to speak with, and they're not wasting any time here, which is what they need to do, right? Let's get the staff filled out, because it's still a competitive situation out there. So we'll keep you posted on any of that kind of news. We will hear from, again, plenty from Liam Coen, a little bit from Shad Khan as well, and we'll unveil our own Tuesday Top 5 for the reasons we have to be optimistic about Liam Coen coming in here. Look, and again, don't get to September if the Jags are 1-3 and say, you told us this is the best case scenario. This is, if everything lines up, these are the things that give us hope for Liam Coen to come in here and get this thing turned around. And, I think he's going to have full support from everybody. And why wouldn't he? Duval. All right. Other than that, he'll have full support from everybody. Man, that was well timed right there. God, it almost sounds fake. Hit me one more time, Dylan. Oh, dear. Oh, Liam, man.
I think it was AI.
I don't think it was AI, actually, but I think the first one was strong, right? Where he was, he turned around, he's got the whole auditorium full of people going Duval with him, and probably should have called it a day as far as that went. But
it does sound like he's singing it. It is
crazy. Hey, you know what? Win games, and that'll be the least of our concerns. So, ready to go? If you want to get on board, 641-1010 on the Garber Automotive phone lines, and that's a special number for Liam Coen to join the program as well. Liam, we'll know you by your Duval if you do call in. But welcome again officially to Jacksonville, to the Coen family, because it takes everybody pulling in the same direction, and hopefully that gives him the peace of mind that his family's going to be able to sink the roots, as he talked about here in Jacksonville for a long time. 641-1010. Also on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. On social media, you can find us today, excuse me, at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark. Duval. I would have been disappointed if it was anything else at that point in time. So we're ready to roll. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat as well if you want to post a comment or a question. Off and rolling. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here. For lickety-split North Florida, it's going to warm up sooner than you know. And when the temperatures go up and your AC's out, you need help now, like right now, like lickety-split. Why not call lickety-split? Get same-day emergency service, not only for your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical, too. They can take care of all of that and do it very quickly, because Lickety Split has dozens of certified technicians ready to roll with their trucks all over town, ready to hop on your issue and get it solved. Lickety Split. You want it done now? You need it done right, and right now. That's Lickety Split.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. Everyone's got a guilty pleasure.
It's a secret.
We hope you're listening to yours.
I am having the fun.
1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole-body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass. He told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound and Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound and Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Jags Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProjacksRoofingFL.com.
Cooking with Prisco.
These things are wonderful. You're going to love it. Have a rollie.
Catch CBS Sports senior NFL writer Pete Prisco every Friday afternoon on The Franchi Show. Brought to you by Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles on 1010XL.
When it comes to towing products, your safety on the road is the priority at Cannons of Jacksonville. Whether it's a heavy-duty tow hitch, trailer frame, wiring, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons has decades of experience to ensure your towing setup is installed with precision and reliability. Visit cannonsofjacks.com to explore a range of products and schedule your installation. Cannons of Jacksonville, your trusted partner for a smoother tow.
What could you do with an extra $75,000 right now, or even a couple $100,000? If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Loan Pronto is the leader in quickly converting your home equity into cold, hard cash. So you can pay off all your credit cards or start that home remodel. Loan Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. There's virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, often no appraisals. Listen, the average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That's your money. Use it. One client got $150,000 out and paid off all their credit cards, 2 car loans, and a personal loan, cutting their monthly expenses by $1,500. You can get approved in as little as 1 day, so act now with no hard credit pull up front. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. Get the money you need for anything at 904-999-1508 or just go to LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, Hicken here with a message from Zero Res. Guess what? We love rugs. We'll treat your fine Oriental rugs with tender, loving care they deserve. How about Gerard, the Zero Res rug cleaning manager, one of the few certified master rug cleaners in the state of Florida? If you want your rugs cleaned with tender, loving care, call Zero Res. Right now, have one rug washed, and we'll wash the second rug free. That's right, buy one, the second one on me. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tony, I need an age for Aubrey Pleasant, please. He's not that old, but I'm just curious because, like, every page I go to doesn't have the specific birthday of him. I don't know why that's so hard to find. He's a pretty young guy. The only reason I ask, I'm trying to see if everything meshes with the similarities between these defensive coordinator candidates, as you've got Durante Jones, who's 45. Patrick Graham is 45. Aubrey Pleasant looks like he's about in that range as well. So let's see.
I'm even on Wikipedia. It's not even showing.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
weird.
Everywhere you go, it just, like, it's personal. Started in coaching and whatever.
All right, college football career was 05 to 08. So he was 18 in 2005.
Roughly.
20 years. He's 39, 40.
Yeah, so about 40-ish, let's call him. All right, so, yeah, definitely. I mean, he looks like a young guy. I remember the name, but just weird that it's hard to find his specific birth date out there. Anyway, point being, the Jags may have a big-time youth movement rolling in here on the coaching staff, as not that Ryan Nielsen and Press Taylor were old guys, but, you know, when you got a 39-year-old head coach and the first three guys he talks to are 45 at the oldest for one of the coordinator positions, just interesting to me. I think people like the idea of a young, aggressive coaching staff. Of course, whomever they hire at defense coordinator, Tony, we're going to hear the word aggressive. We're going to hear attack, right? Or, dictate to the offense, whatever. It's the same thing with every single one of them. So I will withhold judgment until I see the actual results. But just curious at how the process will play out here. All right, we'll get to our first part of our countdown, looking at the reasons for optimism with Liam Coen coming in here as the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. But let's reflect from yesterday on what the owner and Liam Coen had to say as he got introduced down at the Miller Electric Center. Shad Khan, what made Liam Coen the guy that you wanted?
Two things became clear to me. Number one, that this wasn't a moment of regret for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a moment of progress, optimism, and confidence that we will achieve the ultimate goal as long as we have the right man. And number two, that man was Liam Coen. Why? Liam's outstanding body of work speaks for itself. Quarterback development is the bedrock of modern NFL, and Liam has delivered that wherever he's coached. His outstanding reputation preceded our first interview on video, and everything we heard about him from top people throughout football, solicited and otherwise, was confirmed when we met Liam here last week. Liam was bright, prepared, ambitious, and he inspired us. I knew then that Liam was our man, and we got our man. So with that, it's my privilege to introduce to you the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Liam Coen.
All right, now we'll get to some of Liam's comments coming up here in a minute, Tony. Just in terms of quarterback development, okay? It's, he did make Will Levis a draftable commodity, made him attractive enough to be a second-round pick. Some people thought he might end up a first-round pick. Others thought he was overdrafted at the time. Whatever the case, right? You look at him as a pro piece of looking for the right way to express it. You look at it, the product that he is now, Will Levis, and you're like, not so great, right? Not that consistent, but he got enough out of him to make him attractive enough to be considered a second-round pick at the next level. Yeah. He took Baker Mayfield. Baker, coming into this year, had only had one 4,000-yard passing season in his career, which is not that high of a threshold anymore, and he did it the year before. He was 28-10 touchdown to interception ratio. He went up to 41. He did throw 16 interceptions, but I think that's offset by the additional 13 touchdowns that he threw. His quarterback rating went up 12 points. His passing yardage was a career best by over 450 yards. And he did a good chunk of this with Chris Godwin out for the year. Mike Evans missed a stretch of games in the middle of the season. And while it wasn't perfect, like, he took Cade Otton, and for that stretch when Evans was down, and he was one of the 2 or 3 most productive tight ends in the league. So he shifted his priorities and kept that offense moving. So I think there is, it's not the deepest body of work, but the most relevant experience he has, which is the most recent experience, at least gives you a feeling that he can get the quarterback moving in the right direction.
I think it speaks to he takes what's available to him and makes the most out of it. Right? Like that
Players,
seems like that's the Levis thing. That's the Baker Mayfield thing with the different injury situations they were dealing with last year. He's done a good job allowing that position to be really successful when they're being coached by Liam Coen. So hopefully that'll pay big dividends here in Jacksonville with a really talented guy in Trevor Lawrence. And what is that going to look? Can he have a coach that's calling plays for 3 years? Is that possible? Like, is that allowed?
It'd be nice.
In the NFL for a quarterback to have that kind of level of comfort with whoever he's going through all that stuff with. And we'll hear from Liam now. That's the first one we're going to let you hear here, is what excites him the most about this opportunity here in Jacksonville.
You see this place. Look at this right now, right? Look at this. The community, what we're doing in the future, the opportunity to be a part of something different. Right, let's be honest. This is different. That's awesome. That's exciting for me and for my family to truly be a part of something different. To go impact and influence football players and people and staff. That's what this is all about. It's about trying to be a part of change and improvement, and try to do something different and win. Right, winning cures a lot. Winning cures a lot, and that's the goal.
Winning cures just about everything at the pro level. Not you still got to do it with, a certain modicum of responsibility and all those kind of things. But you win and you'll be forgiven a lot of lapses.
Oh, yeah.
That's the bottom line. It's as simple as that with Liam Coen. And that would be different, at least to have a consistent winner here. We, are the franchise that pops up every 5 years or so with a team that gets you all excited, and then you wonder why it's not sustainable. I think it's exciting for Liam Coen in part because this is an opportunity to stop being a football nomad and to sink his roots in here and feel like he's got some raw material to work with. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a big part of that. We'll get to that coming up here in a minute. Let's take a break so we stay on time right here. When we come back, let's start the countdown with maybe numbers 5 and 4 and hear a little bit more from Liam Coen about where he thinks he can take Trevor Lawrence, how he's going to get this running game turned around, and a lot more from his introductory day here in Jacksonville yesterday, both at his press conference and with Frank Frangie on the Frangie Show yesterday afternoon. 641-1010. If you have a question or comment Liam Coen related, we'll take it right here on Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. 1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
I hate violence. It's the one thing I detest.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
Ow! Ow!
Did you just punch me in the face?
Yes.
Mornings on 1010XL.
This is Burton Cummings, the voice of a generation. Burton Cummings, 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. February 5th at Florida Theater. With special guest, Jim Messina. Burton Cummings and his band. 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com.
Basketball season is back as Division I college basketball takes center stage with the UNF Ospreys. Osprey basketball returns home to UNF Arena this Wednesday, January 29th, against the Hatters from Stetson. North Florida is back home on Wednesday, January 29th against Stetson, tip-off at 7. Visit UNFospreys.com/buy tickets now to secure your seats. UNFospreys.com/buy tickets now. Swoop, 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 swoop.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather,
Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out with the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into the showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Put your best foot forward and score 60 minutes of soccer insight on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley for Soccer Talk.
Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 a.m.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards. And it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative, letting you know that Hardball now offers web stores, so your employees can order their own branded gear, and you have more time for Wordle. Check it out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Anthony. Have you been charged with a crime? You don't have to face it alone. I'm here for you. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me. 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW in the 904.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Here's good advice from your friends here at 1010XL. I'm Frank Frangie. The next time you need to send a gift for a birthday, anniversary, wedding, or just for the fun of it, call the experts at Kuhn Flowers. For over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers does it right.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we'll get to the countdown coming up here shortly, Tony. Checking out the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. One, Coen should be fired for that. Duval. Another one said, if he wins the Super Bowl, do we officially change how we all say Duval?
Duval.
I think we'll be fine with that. Give me the Super Bowl, man, and then we can worry about it then. I think absolutely. And
that's the Duval you give in the library when you run into like a Jaguars fan.
That's a good. What did you say? Duval. Okay. Shh. Shh. All right. Thank you, Liam Coen. Just having some fun. Appreciate you. Glad you're in town. Glad the family's here. Go win us some football games and win us a Lombardi trophy if you don't mind. All right, a couple more from his introductory presser. Then let's begin the countdown of top 5 reasons for optimism that Liam Coen is now the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars and what that will mean. How does he feel about Trevor Lawrence, and where does he feel he can take him?
I was telling Trevor this the other day that I've watched him play, live as a freshman in high school. It was Buford High School against Cartersville. Excuse me. Sorry, I was in the South Georgia. I was in Georgia, man. That's all I knew. And I was seeing this freshman in high school play the position at a high level, standing tall, making throws, delivering. And I walked out of there like, man, this is different. I had no idea who he was. And then you fast forward to now, right? How do we make Trevor Lawrence and this offense as dynamic and explosive as we can be, right? We've got to build it around him as well, right? We've got to make every part of this about improvement, and he will be a part of that process. He's earned that right. I cannot respect his toughness and mentality and work ethic more than I do already from afar. And this will all be about Trevor right now.
That's what I want to hear. I mean, it really is, right? I mean, there are 53 guys on the final roster. I get all that. Everybody's important. The practice squad's important. Hiring the coaching staff, it's all important. If you don't maximize what Trevor Lawrence is capable of being, whatever that turns out to be, then you're not going to take this team as far as you possibly can.
Absolutely. And he's already got the big contract on top of it, right? Like, it's not like it's prove it time.
You knew it going in, right? That this is your guy. This is the raw material that you have to work with.
Yeah.
And
it's not working with him for the last year before he's a free agent. We got to figure out what we're going to do with Trevor Lawrence. They've made their decision on Trevor Lawrence.
Right. I don't need to hear, Tony, even though it's true to a degree, that Trevor's just one of the team and I want to get the best performance out of everybody. That's understood. Of course you do.
Yeah.
But the importance of this quarterback in this organization cannot be overestimated.
Right.
You either get it right with him over the next 3 years, or who the hell knows what we're looking at moving into that brand new stadium here in 27.
Yeah, and if Shad Khan's willing to say it the way he said it, and then Liam Cohen's willing to talk about it the way like it's obvious, this was a key to making all of this work the way that it did, is Liam's focus on Trevor Lawrence and what he's going to be as the offensive coordinator and head coach for this football team, right? Like, it's what he's going to do for Trevor Lawrence, and obviously that was a big piece of the puzzle for Shad Khan as well, as to why they have the interest they have in Liam Coen. Liam was also asked what excites him the most about this team as he takes it over.
Dylan?
The leadership, first and foremost. I believe that you look at Josh Hines Allen, the person, right? Trevor Lawrence, the person. These guys have done unbelievable things throughout this community already, right? So we know, and I know, that I'm going to be going to work with unbelievable people first and foremost, right? Then you look at 20 draft picks over the next 2 years, right? You look at some of the players already currently on the roster that did some great things this year. Well, everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a player. We need each other. And I am so looking forward to doing this collaboratively with them, with this staff. There's so many good pieces. You got a rookie wide receiver that you can do a ton with. You got 2 running backs that you can do so many good things with. And a defense that, man, they can go. We just got to put them in some of the better positions to be successful, and I think we can do that. Special teams, what a great shining spot for you guys this year. We got to continue to do that and be special on special teams. There's so many good things about this roster, and like we mentioned before, the future, the next few years, that's truly what's exciting as well.
Well, look, Liam Coen's got to provide a lot of the leadership as well with this whole thing. And he can talk about the leadership coming from Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines Allen. Look, we think they're good citizens. They're good players, Tony. I don't think they're necessarily rah-rah guys. I'm not saying you have to lead that way, but the Jags, we asked a lot of questions over the last year and a half, season and a half. Who are they looking towards? Who is the guy that says enough is enough? this will not be tolerated anymore. And I didn't, frankly, see a lot of that this year. So we'll see if Liam Coen empowers these guys to do a little bit more of that. But I don't think you're going to change the kind of person that Trevor Lawrence is. He is a guy that's going to go along, and he's not the pound the fist on the table guy. And, so lead, I guess, by example. But every once in a while, you need somebody to get up in front of the room and just demand more out of these guys. I don't know who the Jags have. We're not there behind the scenes. I'm not saying it never happens. It just doesn't strike me as we have some of these veteran-type players who have been around the block, who know when to, call the rare team meeting or know when to get on somebody's butt when they're not fulfilling their responsibilities or they're making the same mental mistakes over and over, because these mental mistakes were allowed to fester with this team repeatedly. And who was stepping in to change that? I don't know who that was.
No, this year there didn't seem to be much of that, right? For anyone to kind of wake the locker room up to what the situation actually was. So, yeah, I think that's part of, you got to bring a little bit of it into the building. I don't know how much of it is actually here right now. I think there are a lot of guys on the team that are very hungry for the next step in their career, the next step for the team. They're very focused on all these things, and they're dedicated to those things, but they can't change who they are, and they can't change their personalities. So it does feel like they are in a position where if you want that kind of thing in the room, you better bring it into the room, right? You can't ask the guys to morph into something else. You got to bring it into the room. They don't have an Arden Key. And we talked about him when he walked out. They don't have that, right? You can't replace that easily. They don't have Rashawn Jenkins. Like, they just don't have those kind of personalities in the room. You'd have to bring those back in, and that should be part of the focus going into the offseason. We need to find that kind of energy somewhere.
Not necessarily those specific guys, just that type of
guy.
Of player. You've got to be a player that first contributes on the field. It's tough to lead from the bench, right? Or it's tough to lead if you're not playing up to your own capabilities. So that's where it's got to begin. All right, let's begin the countdown. We're looking for reasons for optimism. Look, there's plenty of time to pick apart Liam Coen and the Jaguars offseason, and I'm sure we will do that along the way. When mistakes are made, we'll point them out. But for now, we're trying to lean into what the possibilities are on the good end of things and what gives us hope with his arrival here in Jacksonville. So, Dylan, why don't we begin the countdown?
Number 5.
All right, Tony, why don't you jump in with your number 5 here? We're counting them down 5 to 1. Reasons for optimism.
Number 5 for me, with Frank Frangie yesterday, Liam Coen talked about the focus being on helping the quarterback and offensive line in the game planning and affecting the opposing quarterback and offensive line on the opposite side of it. I think I appreciate him saying it with no hint of you wouldn't get it if I said it or I explained it to you. Like none of that kind of nonsense going on. But I think it's important for the head coach especially, state a clear goal and figure out the steps needed to reach it, right? And I think that's a pretty simple and focused goal as he begins the process as a head coach for the first time. We want to help the quarterback and the offensive line affect their quarterback and their offensive line. We figure out how to do that, we can win a bunch of football games. I think it's a very concise first step as a head coach to take, and I appreciate it.
All right. That might appear somewhere in my list of top 5s as well. I think we're going to have a lot of overlap, obviously. But number 5 for me was the retention of Heath Farwell. Gene Fournette reported it yesterday that they had agreed to terms. I saw John Shipley in a piece over at the Jaguars coverage at SI.com saying, what happens a lot, you get these press conferences and then they break off into smaller groups and they talk a little bit more informally, and that he indicated that, yes, Heath Farwell would be back. A couple of reasons. A, Heath Farwell is good at what he does, right? He's one of the coaches that certainly deserving, and we said it throughout the process, Tony, if the Jags had given him at least a courtesy interview for the head coaching position, I would have understood it because he is a coordinator who came in, not only did his job, but he excelled at it. But the reason beyond just the fact that he's good at his job is the fact that Liam Coen, by doing this, is signaling, hey, it's not about me sweeping in here and replacing everything with my ideas and my guys. If it worked, let's keep it. If it didn't, let's replace it or fix it. And here's a guy who just comes in and says, man, I'm a first-time head coach. I'm going to be calling plays. There's going to be a lot on my plate. I've got a coordinator in place that has some desire to stay where he is, that has helped make some of our specialists all pros, and whose one unit was really the most consistent one on this team. I just think the willingness to just say, hey, if it's not broke, let's roll with it. And even though that Heath Farwell's worked under other coaches, I don't care. I need him here because he can get the job done.
And it's the nature of being a special teams coordinator, like Farwell is. You know the whole roster, right? Like, you're working with everybody on the roster, so keeping that guy around, obviously the players like him, it seems, right? Like, there's no issues from that perspective, but keeping that kind of guy around can only help you.
So it's a combination there, just the job Heath Farwell does, but also just kind of the mindset of, hey, I'm going to come in here and I'm not just going to flush everybody up. This is my first chance to be a head coach, right? I want to stock the coaching roster with loyalists here. Not that Heath Farwell wouldn't be loyal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not, I have to have my guy for the sake of having my guy. Dylan Denmark, what do you got at 5?
I'm going to start with a clean slate in the front office. I would still feel optimistic, but if Balky were still here, I'd be like, we still got to. But now you have a new GM, you have a new, eventually going to get one, and, I feel optimistic that it is going to be better, and you're interested in see what they're going to do in free agency in the draft coming up.
You don't have this at numbers 4 through 1 as well, right?
No, sir.
Okay, because some who responded to the question
I saw
today,
it over,
absolutely, and that's
over.
fine. Like, I get it. That is what you most desired in terms of change was the front office, and you've gotten it now. So you're going to be optimistic. If you are going to be optimistic, and that's going to be a big part of the reason that we have new eyes on who is going to be bringing in the talent on this roster. So I'm sure we'll get to that again. All right, let's get one more in on the countdown here.
Number 4.
All right, Tony, you said it. I agree with it. I just moved it one spot higher in my personal ranking here. The stress of the importance of both lines of scrimmage, right? When he talked about offense, getting two things going, the quarterback and the O-line. It's not like, hey, we have Brian Thomas Jr. We have, for now at least, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, guys like that. You need weapons. But if you can't block it, then it doesn't really matter if your quarterback doesn't have time. And what he said from the defensive philosophy, it's the same thing. You're affecting the quarterback, but also what do you do to affect the offensive line? I don't know if you saw the little anecdote from Osiris Torrance coming out of the AFC Championship game, right? Where Kansas City
tricked them.
Right.
Yeah.
Spagnuolo showed a pressure. And every time he showed that pressure throughout the game, they backed out of it and they brought pressure from a different spot. So they see it on a crucial moment on what could be the game-winning drive for the Bills. And instead, they show the same look, but instead of bringing the pressure from somewhere else, they brought it from right where they were showing. They said, here it is. And even though this hasn't been what we're doing all game, we've been setting you up for this. And it was just about the game within a game between a defensive coordinator and the offensive line. So I like that holistic approach that, look, both lines of scrimmage. If you can't get it done, if you let the other teams, opposing teams' offensive line dominate you, you're going to have just as many problems if your offensive line can't get the job done on your side. So I'm with you there on stressing the importance of both lines of scrimmage. Dylan, what do you got at 4?
I'm going to say going with the trend with the NFL of young offensive guys. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like this is the first time that Jacksonville has went in that kind of trend where you're going what's hot in the NFL. You look at Kevin O'Connell and Sean McVay, they're both 39 years old. Matt LaFleur, Kyle Shanahan, 45. Liam Coen's of that same age, and it's good that he's young, innovative, and you guy that can work with Trevor moving forward. I mean, I'm not one of those people that's like an age person. I mean, like Andy Reid, 66, and Pete Carroll's still coaching. But it's nice that he's young, and it feels a little different.
Yeah, it gives you at least the hope that, man, if this guy really does work, maybe we'll have a decade plus with him installed as our head coach. And all right, so the youthful aspect of it for Dylan. Tony, what do you got it for?
The unflinching focus on putting the staff together, recognizing how vital it is to figure out a plan at defensive coordinator as they begin putting this coaching staff together, which is also an acknowledgement that he feels like he can handle the offensive side, right? Like, we'll get to that. I'll put together what we're going to be doing on the offensive staff, but we got to figure out what we're doing on the other side of the ball because I'm not going to be as hands-on with that side. So we have to figure out what that's going to look like. I think it's the right direction of focus for the team.
Yeah, look, this is a day for optimism, but I am concerned, maybe too strong a word, but I'm curious to see how, as a first-time head coach, he handles those responsibilities of calling plays. And he will be a little bit more focused. Like Aaron Glenn's not going to call defensive plays with the Jets, right? He said, I want to make sure that I'm coaching the entire team. Just because you're calling plays doesn't mean you're not coaching the entire team, but there's definitely going to be more of a focus when that's what one of your roles is going to be on game day. So I'm with you, man. Fill out a competent staff. Somebody made the point, like, would we be better off with a defensive coordinator like a Vic Fangio, somebody who's been around, seen it all? You can make a compelling case for that. I want somebody who's going to be good, first and foremost. I do like the idea that Patrick Graham was at least established enough that he would merit head coaching looks here in Jacksonville. And but like right now, based on the first three coordinator candidates that they've interviewed, it looks like the youth movement is in full swing here in Jacksonville with the coaching staff. All right, we'll come back. We'll get to the 3, 2, 1 of the countdown. We'll hear more, though, from the man himself, Liam Coen, including how did he turn that Tampa Bay Buccaneers running game around in the short time that he did. That's coming up next. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's take a look inside 1010XL.
Who wants the Grand Tour? That would be terrific. That would be great.
We have the drill in the morning.
Very amusing.
Jaguars Today from 10 to noon.
Good.
Helmets and heels until 2.
Yes.
XL Prime Time and the Frangie Show afternoons.
This is great.
Then Baloo and Hacker take you into the night.
All in one location.
1010XL.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Your home is your sanctuary where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Mike Dempsey here. All right, we're almost a month into the new year. How's that resolution to drop your first 20 to 25 pounds going? Didn't happen? Yeah, well, that's probably because you didn't call Awaken 180 weight loss. I did, and in just 4 weeks, I dropped 23 pounds and was at my goal. But here's the crazy part. It didn't stop there. It was so easy, I kept going. Did it another week. Next thing I know, I'm down 27 pounds. That's right, 27. You know what's wild? I can still see my abs again. Not ripped. I don't have a six-pack, but I didn't even think I had those anymore before Awaken 180. It's amazing when you see the results. Feel the results. You just want to keep pushing forward. That's what makes Awaken 180 so different. It's not some medication quick fix where the weight comes off and comes back. It's real results that you can see and feel. Fast results and lasting results. Results that make you want to keep going. To reach a goal you never thought possible. Want the same for you? Then do it. Call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss, 844-346-1800, or visit awaken180weightloss.com today.
Memories. He's going to take it all the way. Moments.
Big moment.
Highlights.
Can you believe this?
Huddle up with 1010XL and Window World of Northeast Florida as we prepare the path for the showdown in the Superdome.
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning has your back. Start the year fresh. No leaks, no clogs, no excuses. Call Duck Rooter at 904-862-6769 today. Because when you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Family owned and managed for 20 plus years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
The Florida Forum welcomes best-selling author and journalist Carl Hyacin, February 12th. Funds raised go to a Kids Care Mobile ICU, a neonatal and pediatric critical care transport vehicle. Kids Care vehicles and helicopters safely transport more than 2,200 infants and children a year to Wilson Children's Hospital. Get your tickets at thefloridaforum.com or call 202-2886. 202-2886.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com/Duval. That's WM.com/Duval and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's the Mangler.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hey, gang, Prosser here. Are you struggling to sell your home? How long has it been sitting on the market? Are you tired of being tired of trying to sell your home? Go to The Guarantee. ChadandSandy.com. I've been telling you about Chad and Sandy literally for years now. And here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. You want a guarantee? Your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. That's right. The agreed upon asking price, the agreed upon deadline, sold by that, or they buy it. How much more of a promise do you need? The only local real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home. No required costly repairs. Pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. And again, guarantee your home sold at an agreed upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Pete Lakeshore said, I was in a pickle. I needed cash out on a rental property fast, and I was struggling to rent. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. I had an offer for full asking price within days. These guys made it easy and delivered big-time results. It's what they do. Call Chad and Sandy today, 414-6200, or chadandsandy.com.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millardcareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
The big game is almost here, and Sonny's Barbecue wants you to win a barbecue feast. Text Sonny's to the text line brought to you by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010 for your chance to win. 641-1010.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. The Jacksonville Jaguars welcomed their new head coach, Liam Coen, yesterday. Coen has spent several stints in the NFL and college, both as a coordinator. Coen looks to make the most of his first head coaching job and is excited to not only make an impact on the team and players, but on the Duval community as well.
Yeah, this has been a dream come true. As we've gone through this process, this was the only one. This was the only one that we saw, man, this could be a place that we could be here for a while, right? This is the type of place that ultimately you want to try to help and build and make it better. And that's why you coach. You coach to try to help players reach their highest potential to win, but also be a part of community. And that's what we have here.
It's 59 degrees at 10:57. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, you know this. Liam Coen is the head coach of your Jacksonville Jaguars. All nice and official after his introductory press conference yesterday. Again, go check out any of the places you go back and listen to 1010XL content. You can hear Frank Frangie sit down with the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. In fact, we're going to hear some of Liam Coen's comments from that interview coming up here, also focusing on a lot of what he had to say at yesterday's press conference. And our Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, asking you for your top 5 reasons for optimism now that Liam Coen has been named the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, welcome to Jacksonville, Liam Coen and his family, extended family, and hope you're here for a long, long time. And your kids grow up never remembering not having lived in Duval County one day down the line. That would be fantastic. All right, so before we get back to the countdown, Tone, let's get back to the new head coach himself. And I think this is a very important one, and we'll be talking about this in my top three for sure. Liam Coen, how did you take a running game in Tampa that was dead last in the league, not near the bottom, it was last in the league, right? They had like 88 rushing yards a game in 2023, took that up to 149 yards a game, ranked fourth best in the National Football League. How did you make that turnaround happen in 1 year?
As it first started with their willingness and openness and a little bit of humility to not want to be at the bottom anymore. I mean, that was the reality, right? The previous 2 years, those guys, they wanted more from themselves. They wanted a different respect level around their peers and around the NFL. And so all we did was come in with the mindset of it takes all 11. It takes all 11 to get better in the run game. Mike Evans, Hall of Famer, digging out support on the front side of runs, selflessness, quarterback being involved, everybody being involved, and you started to show them examples of that, whether it's in LA, Minnesota, whatever it is, Green Bay, a ton of different places run a similar system and have had similar success running the football, which now also helps the pass game, the defense, the special teams. And so I think the buy-in was pretty quick, but those guys knew it had to happen.
I'm very curious to see what he thinks he needs to add to this running back room this year, because from all accounts, running back might be the strongest position in this draft, certainly among the very strongest positions in this draft. Bucky Irving was taken in the fourth round last year, Tone, and every time he got the ball in the second half of the year, it looked like he was shot out of the proverbial cannon. He had juice, he had burst, just over 200 carries and had over 1,100 yards last year. And not that we don't have some talent in that room, but I wonder if that's going to be one of the ways he tries to upgrade is by bringing in, another dynamic runner to the mix.
Yeah, running back, defensive tackle seem to be the two positions I see being talked about the most as far as depth in this draft, right? Like you can get really big impact players day three, potentially, of this particular draft class at those two spots, but we'll see exactly what that looks like and what they want to prioritize going into this. Liam Coen was also asked about, along those lines, his assessment of the lines of scrimmage for the Jags on the offensive and defensive side.
I think we would all, agree that it needs to improve, right? I think that when you look at first and foremost the offensive side of the ball, you want that unit and that group. It's the first thing when you break the huddle that the defense sees. I want that to mean something. We want that to mean something, and it will. And that's a mentality, that's personnel, that's scheme, that's technique, that's fundamentals, that's attitude. That's something that we need to make sure we instill. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think we all know that we've got some talented dudes there. We've got some guys that really go. How do we continue to ensure the inside? But we got multiple guys up front that can do some good things. We've got to put them in a position to be successful. That's our job. The guys are there. We can continue to add in that room, right? Add multiple different positions as well. But that's where it starts, as you mentioned. To go in playoff games and to go do it, you've got to be able to run the football and stop the run first and foremost.
He said we got three, then he caught himself. Right? Like in terms of playmakers on the defensive line, we can all agree on two of those, I think. Is he talking about Eric Armstead? Because, he's more proven over the length of his career in the National Football League. Is he talking about flashes he's seen from Mason Smith? I can't imagine he's talking about somebody else right now, based on it's one of those two guys. But either way, I think both of those units, and he kind of acknowledged that. I don't think he wants to. You don't want to get up in your first press conference and go, man, look what they're working with here, right? It's got to be better than that. But he's saying that to a degree. Some of it is attitude, some of it's buy-in, but some of it's just pure talent and, what you've got available to you. And he followed up on that in his conversation with Frank Frangie yesterday and said that the offensive line is the number one thing, in his opinion, that needs to be fixed with this team.
That's the number one thing that we need to really get right. Like that is such an important position. When you go into a game plan, what we think about is how do we take care of and protect and make the game easier for the quarterback and the offensive line on the offensive side of the ball. On the flip side of it, defensively, how do we impact and affect the quarterback and the offensive line? That's really what we're trying to get accomplished. So the O-line hire, that process, that culture, all of what goes into that position, that's going to be one of the top hires that we make this year.
Man, it's such a fun. It's all results oriented, right? A couple of years ago, we were like, oh, Phil Rauscher, he's talked about as one of the best offensive line coaches in the league. Then you couldn't pick up a 4th and short to save your life for the last couple of years. At least it felt that way. And all of a sudden, Phil Rauscher is persona non grata. And I get it. That's the life of being an assistant coach. But again, John Shipley pointing out over at SI, for the record, even though you could presume that these things were going to be the case, that Press Taylor not back, Ryan Nielsen not back, and Phil Rauscher specifically, those three will not be a part of this coaching staff moving forward. All right, so we've reached the midway point, the number 3 in the countdown. Dylan, give us your
number 3.
Give us your 5 and 4 before you give us your 3.
I said starting with a clean slate with the front office, and I said he's a young offensive guy. Like the trend is going in the National Football League for my 5 and 4. Number 3 for me is it's all about Trevor. The most important relationship I believe in all of sports is between the play caller and the quarterback. It's a quarterback-driven league. All of the quarterbacks that are playing, that are making long playoff, having deep playoff runs, all have a good relationship with their play caller. If you don't have that, it's going to be a lot harder to succeed. And we all know Trevor's not going anywhere anytime soon. So all your chips have to go to him.
Interesting to see what your numbers 1 and 2 are, as important as that one is. So we'll see as we continue the countdown. All right, Tony, what were your 5 and 4, and where are you on number 3?
Number 5 was what we just heard him say with Frank Frangie, essentially helping the quarterback in the offensive line and affecting the opponent's quarterback and offensive line, stating that as a clear goal, which gives you, all right, here's the steps we're going to take to get to that kind of thing. Number 4 was recognizing how vital it is to put this staff together, especially the defensive coordinator spot for him, as that's going to be the side of the ball that he's going to be less involved in, as he is more the offensive-minded head coach. And number 3 for me is the Sean McVay influence, right? He played for him. He actually kind of sounded like Sean McVay at times during the press conference yesterday. I think it showed up in part 2 with, one of the other things he said with Frank yesterday was the being willing to trust his process more. Last year as the offensive coordinator in Tampa and seeing the dividends that paid. I think that is kind of the rubbing off of the Sean McVay influence on his career to this point. And I think that has the potential to pay big dividends for the Jacksonville Jaguars as he steps into the position now as a head coach.
Right, considered one of the better play callers in the National Football League, and that's Sean McVay. And, and again, he talked about that progression of being in different places, not always having the opportunity to call plays, and then to believe that you could do it, then to do it at the NFL level and have the success that he had. That's, you get that instant feedback, and it makes you believe that you can take those principles to other places.
Yep.
And we hope that's the case here. So number 3 for me, I already mentioned it, but make it official here. Number 5 was retaining Heath Farwell, not only because he's good, but it just shows an openness to, I'm not going to come in with all the answers. There are some salvageable things here that were good. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. Number 4 was stressing the importance of the lines of scrimmage. And number 3 was simply, again, improving the Buccaneers' running game last year from dead last in the league to 4th in the National Football League. The Jags were better this year than the Bucs were the prior year, if that makes sense, in terms of how much they were able to gain on the ground on a per-game basis. Jags were like 101 yards a game. The Bucs were like 88 the year before, which is miserable. And so when you average almost 150 yards a game, Tone, I mean, you run for over 150 yards, you're going to win a lot of football games. You're going to win the majority of those very easily, you would think. So, and if you're averaging 149, you've got plenty of games where you've gone over that mark, and just the ability to come in, make it a quick fix, get buy-in from those guys. And look, he can show these Jags film. Here's Mike Evans, as you said, digging out a block. Right? And here's a guy who's ticketed for the Hall of Fame. If anybody has earned the right to be a diva in Tampa, it's Mike Evans. And yet here he is doing the grimy, gritty stuff. Look, we all love the flash and dash of Brian Thomas Jr., but he's going to have to dig in there. I'm not saying he's not willing to, but all these guys, it is, you hear this consistently. To run the ball effectively at any level, it's an 11-man process. And he found a process that worked for that team. And yes, they got an infusion of new legs with Bucky Irving last year, but I don't think that was all of what went right for Tampa. Because again, when Godwin goes down and you lose an Evans for a while, if you're a defensive coordinator, that's the number one thing you're going to be trying to stop. That may be the number one thing you're trying to stop in most games anyway, but particularly when your outside playmakers aren't there and they were able to get the job done last season. They need to hang on to the football a little bit better. Tampa had a lot of fumbles last year in the running game, but I don't think that is scheme-specific.
Yeah.
I think that's more focusing in on the players. So for me, I put that in at number 3. We'll get to some of your top 5s when we come back. On the other side, we'll also hear a little bit more from Liam Coen being introduced to you, the Jaguar fandom, and to the media yesterday here in Jacksonville for the first time. And we'll unveil what we think are the 2 most compelling reasons for optimism now that he's been named the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Who are these men? Where's my trusted associates? Am I right?
Joe Cowart.
Am I left?
Matt Hayes and Leon Searcy.
Now.
Afternoons 2 to 4 on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
DUI, BUI, don't stress. Call me Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Kick off the new year with a new look for your home. It's the Renewal by Anderson New Year's sales event. For a limited time, save 20% on their energy-efficient windows and patio doors, designed to keep your home comfortable all year. Plus 0 down, no payments, and 0% interest for 12 months. Offer expires January 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for Instant Keys locksmith service.
Interested in a unique date night? Gibby here. I took my wife Nikki to Wick a Candle Bar. She made her own custom candle right there in the store. Shop local at Wick a Candle Bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Fish know where to hide. Captain Kevin knows how to find them.
That's a big one.
Listen for the Wing Power Fishing Forecast Show, brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Royal Pest Services.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Take your taste buds to One Night Taco Stand for Taco Tuesday. Get $2.99 tacos and $6.99 specialty drinks. The 1010XL restaurant of the day is One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Is your dog Team Rough or Team Fluff? It's officially Puppy Bowl season at Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard. They're getting MVPs, most valuable pups, ready for the big game. Your dog deserves a tail-wagging day of fun, and Dogtopia's indoor playrooms are the perfect training ground for their game day moment. Get your dog in on all the action by visiting Dogtopia Jacksonville Beach Boulevard and St. John's Bluff. New to the pack? Enjoy a free day of daycare. Mention Puppy Bowl when booking to claim the offer.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
Yo, E.T. here, and don't let Valentine's Day sneak up on you. Plan the perfect romantic getaway in Clay County. Stay at one of Clay's beautiful Airbnbs or in luxury at Club Continental, a boutique riverfront retreat, and treat your special someone to an unforgettable dinner at the Hilltop Restaurant. Trust me on this one. Clay County is the perfect spot for romance. Start planning today at exploreclay.com and tag those romantic moments with #ExploreClay.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, this one on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures Tone. Please mention or address the comment by the new coach regarding Trent Baalke. I understood he said he was not the reason he initially declined a second interview. Trent was a distraction, not a detriment. Not your topic today, but it's fresh, and nobody even mentioned it, in my opinion. Well, let's hear that, and then we'll hear what he had to say, Liam Coen. Also hear what Shad Khan had to say when asked about the subject, and then we'll address that. And we've got some more focusing on building a staff and what he has learned along the way from some of the coaches he's worked with. That's Liam Coen, of course. But did the opportunity, this is the question posed to him, did the opportunity have anything to do here in Jacksonville with Trent Baalke being fired?
This was completely about an opportunity to work for an owner and a group of people with a group of players that needed some help. And that's what coaching is, right? That's what coaching is all about, is trying to go help people and be around people. So, no, that was not the factor.
Okay, so Shad Khan was then asked, when was it decided that you would part ways with Trent Baalke?
You know, after the 10 video interviews were done and we were ready that was a transition point for me to reflect and what was the right thing for the organization, and that's when I decided that it was time for a change.
All right, Tone. Liam Coen's answer there. This is not about that. It was about the opportunity to work with this team and Shad Khan. Wasn't that opportunity there present at the beginning of the week when he decided that he wasn't going to come back and interview here in Jacksonville? Seemed like it was, right? And then Shad saying, all right, so we wrapped up the 10 interviews, and then I just decided we'll make this move. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, the last of those interviews might have been as late as Saturday of last, right? That he had multiple days to decide, okay, I've heard everything everyone has to say. Then you wake up Monday, you're like, oh, there goes Ben Johnson. He's head coach of the Chicago Bears. That's okay. Liam Coen is going to be our focus here anyway. Well, he's going back to Tampa. And then Trent Baalke. It doesn't mesh to me in terms of the timing, right? I mean, it's pretty clear.
But it makes sense in terms of Shad Khan. And I say that for this reason. Shad likes Trent. Right? Like, that's why Trent didn't get fired 3 weeks ago. Shad trusted Trent in this whole process, and he finally got to a point in the process where he said, I can't do it anymore. But what he's not going to do is burn him on his way out the door. And he's not going to embarrass him. Shad doesn't have the animosity for Trent Baalke that the fan base does, so he's not going to express that animosity. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shad said, look, we're not doing the Baalke thing. They're going to ask us both about it today. We're not doing the Baalke thing.
I think it was pretty evident they wanted nothing to do with the subject.
Right. It's just when both times it got brought up to both of them, the coach was like, I'm not here because of that. I'm excited about the opportunity.
Right. And Liam Coen at one point talked about we're looking forward. You know, like nobody wants there's nothing good that's going to come out in Jacksonville about a rehash of how things went down.
No, I think the fans would love to watch the whole organization burn Baalke. He's not going to do it.
But to me, the difference between it's clear when you say, all right, the 10 interviews were done. Okay, they were done.
Yeah, the timing comment from his perspective makes no sense.
It doesn't make a whole lot. I mean, like, obviously, it seems obvious, plain as day, that Liam Coen's decision to go back to Tampa changed everything in the mind of Shad Khan about what he had to do if he was going to be all in on this guy. All right, a couple more here from Liam Coen. Here he was yesterday with Frank Frangie on the Frangie Show, talking about where the focus is right now is on building this coaching staff.
The fundamental focus right now is to go hire the best staff that we can possibly put together for these players. That is the number one focus. Starts with the defensive coordinator position. Feel really good about, being able to move on to the offense after we've done some of the work on the defensive side of the football first and foremost. Obviously want to try to get the special teams taken care of. I think I've got a ton of respect for Heath and what he did. Love to be able to try to get that one locked in and get him back here, man. That's a fundamental piece that I would love to be able to get that done. Okay. I think we're really in a good spot with him. And that's the first thing, guys, right? That's the first thing we need to do is get this staff taken care of. And then move on to the next task. But that's the only thing. And really, honestly, guys, within this week, getting to know these players more. That's got to be the focus.
Yeah, look, and it's on my list for a reason, right? Like the focus of we got to get this figured out, what exactly the coaching staff is going to look like beyond Liam Coen. One more here from Liam. He was asked, what did he learn from McVay and Bowles, who he's worked with as head coaches here in the NFL, in terms of how to lead a program for the first time?
I think the vulnerability to be honest with yourself when you do make mistakes, being able to own up to them, to be able to move on. If we can all be honest with each other in this building, we'll be able to grow. I think that's the first thing, the ownership. The ownership's not just in the good times, it's truly in the adverse times. And how do we handle success while also being able to handle adversity? Those were things that I learned from Sean. We had to learn we had a difficult season in 2022. That formed us. That changed us. We've talked about that year and how difficult that was, but we're better from it. And so those experiences, that ultimately helps mold who you are, what you're made of. And I hope to be able to bring that here as well.
All right, let's, because some of what he's saying here is going to reflect on our top couple in our countdown, counting down our top 5 reasons for optimism now that Liam Coen is officially the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Tony, let's pick up where we at, Dylan.
Number 2.
There you go.
Number 2 for me is the easiest one to put on the list. We saw what he did for Baker Mayfield as a quarterback there in Tampa Bay. Can he do the same kind of thing for Trevor Lawrence? Can he create that kind of magic for Trevor Lawrence as a head coach and a play caller here in Jacksonville? That's been the whole process since it began. They fired Doug Peterson. We were all right, what the next head coach, what's he going to be able to do for Trevor? Right? Well, they got a guy who just did what he did for Baker. Can you repeat that process here in Jacksonville with a guy that is more probably physically talented than Baker Mayfield, but Baker was still a number 1 pick in the draft. It's not like he's an untalented guy, but Trevor Lawrence is a supremely gifted player at the quarterback position. I don't think that's been brought to the forefront because of a bunch of different stuff that's happened here, including some things where Trevor just hasn't gotten it done at times, right? Like there is the he has to grow up a little bit in some of these situations. We've all talked about it. We've been through it over and over and over again. Can he repeat that kind of thing that he did for Baker, for Trevor Lawrence? If he can do it with Trevor Lawrence, I think, again, they can hit the moon. As far as where you can put the expectations for him, they just have to reach it.
All right. For me, number 2 was, and he I think even used the phrase, organizational alignment. Right? Balky's gone. Right? And we've got a fresh start. And we don't know who it's going to be yet. I hope it's a completely fresh start. Sorry, Ethan Wall, you get painted with the bulky brush. I want it taken out by the roots, Tony, and I want, thank you for your service in helping to, bridge this gap between now and then, but then needs to come with a new GM, in my opinion. But the fact that, look, if Trent Baalke was here, doesn't mean Trent Baalke's necessarily going to pick bad players and things couldn't work out, but you come in under a cloud of questioning whether or not there's anything you can do to overcome that, whether that's fair or not. This is going to put guys on the same page, walking in together. I don't know if we're going to have a first-time GM or not, but we've certainly got a first-time head coach, and I would hope that their fortunes are married together, that as the Jaguars rise, so will you, and as the Jaguars fall, you're both responsible for things. Now, there can be, particulars. Sometimes you get out coached or sometimes you just don't have the raw material. But in general, I want these guys to feel like they are in it together, whoever that turns out to be. And so I think we're going to have that alignment more so than we've had a long, long time here in Jacksonville. Dylan Denmark, what's your number 2?
Number 2, I would say he's adamant about fixing this offensive line. You look around the National Football League, all the good offensive lines were making playoff runs and playing in the NFC AFC championships, and 2 good offensive lines are in the Super Bowl. Now, you don't have the talent right now. It doesn't look like. I mean, you have Anton Harrison, who you can look forward for the next couple of years. But other than him, it doesn't really seem like you have pieces on this offensive line that you can move forward and say, we have these guys that can move forward saying, okay, we can run the ball and do this. We can protect Trevor doing this. And that was something he was able to do in Tampa. I mean, he almost doubled his rushing yardage from the previous year when he wasn't there to what he did last year. If he can fix the offensive line, and he seemed pretty adamant about it, that's ginormous reason to be optimistic.
Well, I hope, and I understand what you're saying about the pieces there. I hope that he looks at Walker Little and thinks he can get the job done with him, and Ezra Cleveland, Tony, because they're locked up at least for the next couple of years. Walker Little signed a 3-year deal, but it could be looked at as a 2-year deal. I'm not saying that you can't upgrade those guys eventually, but I don't think you're going to spend high draft capital immediately looking at either tackle position or the left guard position, maybe right guard, maybe center, depending on your conversations with Mitch Morse this offseason. But I hope he does. We've all talked about the offensive line being a focus. You can focus on it. I would imagine every coach in the National Football League wants to have a dominant offensive line. Doesn't mean, poof, you're just going to have one because that's your philosophy. You got to put the pieces in place to get it done. But I like it. All right, we've still got our number 1 in the countdown when we return in the moment. But let's get Darren online here on the Garber Automotive phone lines at 641-1010. Wants to weigh in on Liam Coen as the new head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Darren, good morning.
Good morning, guys. I'm very happy with the hire and the attitude. I know we don't know what the future holds right now, but we won't know that with anyone. I also want to compliment Shad Khan on moving forward and getting rid of Baalke like he did. I mean, he obviously knew the writing was on the wall, but he was trying to be committed, and he's like, you know what? Hey, this is holding us back. Get out of here. I was so thankful that he wasn't being hard-headed, down the road, and he went ahead and cut ties with it. I think Coen is going to bring some really great energy to the city overall. I wish ET had been there to shut it down for a moment and said, "Say it with your chest." But I missed that. ET should have been there for it. But anyway, guys, I'm stoked, excited. All the haters in Tampa, suck it, baby.
All right, Darren, appreciate it. By the way, nobody mentioned anything about Tampa in their 4 of their top 5, unless you've got it at number 1, Tony. No. But I did put that as like an honorable mention. It's not that the anger that Tampa fans have about the way things went down. That's to some degree understandable anger. It's more the reaction when they thought they were going to lose him. How many fans are saying, get rid of Todd Bowles. We cannot lose this guy. Make him the head coach. Make him the head coach in waiting. Do whatever it takes to maintain Liam Coen working for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to keep that in place because of what he meant to their offense. And, when's the last time we've had a coordinator that we felt that way about, like we could not do without? I can't think of it off the top of my head, but that did give me some hope that, that this is the way they feel about this guy after 1 year. They got phenomenal results. Wasn't good enough to put in my top 5, but definitely was in the honorable mention category. Let's leave it at that. All right, we'll come back with our number one reason for optimism, the way we see it, for Liam Coen taking over as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith here with you, along with Dylan Denmark. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL's Dan Hicken dominated Folio Weekly's Best of 2024. Best TV sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports anchor, Dan Hicken. Best radio sports show starring Dan Hicken. 1010XL, the home of Dan Hicken.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
We don't have too many cold nights on the First Coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Homeowners, listen up. It's time to start fresh in 2025. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto is here to help take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payments and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto now. Lock in at a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call now, 904-999-1508, or go to loanpronto.com. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Spend lunchtime with the ladies.
Hey, where's your sense of adventure?
They don't cook, but they serve up spicy sports talk.
Sure, it's on the menu.
Helmets and heels.
That is a meal.
Switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans on 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, you're
next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com, powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
This is Burton Cummings, the voice of a generation. Burton Cummings, 60th Anniversary Hits Tour, February 5th at Florida Theater. These eyes. With special guest, Jim Messina. Burton Cummings and his band. 60th Anniversary Hits Tour. Tickets on sale now at floridatheater.com.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Denny Thompson here. Tyson Sound & Security has a huge prize sweepstakes now through the big game. I'm talking a 75-inch loaded Samsung TV with 3D surround sound, a sound bar with wireless subwoofer, and installation is included. Stop by the new showroom, check out the setup, and drop your name in the box for your chance to win the $2,500 prize now through February 9th. Tyson Sound & Security now at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. Dylan Denmark here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, Tony, let's see. Fast for Liam Coen. Fundamentally sound, attack mentality. What did he say? Situational. What was the phrase he used? He was talking about being good at situational football and then being tough mentally and physically. FAST. So we'll see. That played well with some in the audience there. From Ewan, he said 1 through 5. Fresh new ideas and leadership, admitting there's an issue on the O-line. Fast, love the mantra. Young leadership, innovative and forward-thinking. Number 5 was organizational alignment and unified cultural direction. How about that? So, yeah, everybody being on the same page. Let's look at a few of these that we got in. We'll get to our number 1 in our countdown to the top 5 reasons for optimism. Code Blue said, number 1, Baker's success under him. Number 2, it's a fresh start. 3, he's a young offensive mind. 4, the success of Tampa Bay's run game. And 5, the fact that Liam Coen will be calling plays. Will we get to the point where people are going, it's too much on Liam Cohen's plate. He's got to give these play calling duties to somebody else.
They could.
They probably would.
After 0-2 start, it'll be the first thing we hear.
We're down at the half in the opener, Dylan. Don't kid yourself, all right? I'm staying off social media.
I was being optimistic about that.
I know you were, man. I don't know if it'll get that much grace, but let's see. From Andrew, willingness to adjust the scheme to player strengths. He did mention that several times. Players over plays, right? Take what you've got. And one thing he specifically mentioned was watching the film, seeing how well Brian Thomas Jr. operates out of the slot. And that's where Chris Godwin operated from. And you saw what kind of year he was having under Liam Coen in terms of the volume and productivity that was coming his way. Let's see, Andrew also going passion for toughness, especially in the trenches. Didn't fall into coaching. It's been his dream since he was a kid. Recognizes Brian Thomas Jr. as the weapon that he is, and he's off the McVay tree as well. It's a silly thing, but I like BTJ over BT. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of, it's just more natural, I feel, to refer to Brian Thomas Jr. as BTJ, and apparently within the team a lot, Doug Peterson included, they call him BT quite a bit. So I'm all for the move to BTJ. Let's see, from Bush Drive Rich, got rid of Balky before he was even hired, so just imagine what he can do with an offense. He knew the players by name, unlike Urban Miller. There's something to say about that. At least he knew a few of them, Tone. He was smart enough to not go too deep on the roster, probably, but there was no awkward Roy Roberts. I get it. Roy Robertson Harris is no longer here, but he's happy to be here. He believes in Trevor Lawrence and the infusion and the importance of family and the cultural change he'll bring in Duval.
You don't think Liam Coen is going to have to feel that he needs to let all the fans know that week that Aaron Donald might be all right?
Yeah, that guy.
As if Urban was like breaking news to NFL fans.
Have you seen this Aaron Donald guy? He's unbelievable. You kidding me?
Are you serious?
Wow. Welcome.
At least he knew his name.
Did he? Or
No,
did he refer to him by
the
number?
No, he didn't.
Right,
He
he
knew
referred
the
to him by
number.
number at the time. So, James,
So
the running back.
He probably knew the name, but we're not sure if he did or not.
Frickin' James, the running back, man. I mean, bro, he was the best weapon the Jags had the year before you got here, and you call him James, the running back.
There you go.
Trevor, the running back.
I agree with
Miller.
Ed said intensity in his manner, and you saw it at the end of the press conference, says Ed. Energetic with new ideas, history of having his players overperform, focus on collaboration and learning, and he's calling the plays. That's a big one for a lot of people there. All right, let's get to it. Dylan, the top one in the countdown.
Number 1.
All right, here were my 5 through 2s, Tony. Retaining Heath Farwell, A, because he's a good coach, and B, because it shows he's not throwing away everything for the sake of starting fresh. Keep the good stuff. All right, number 4, stressing the importance of the lines of scrimmage on both sides. Number 3, the results he got in the Bucs running game after they were terrible the year before. Took him to a top 5 finish running the football as a team last year. Organizational alignment, meaning, the simpatico between front office and coaching. That's what I'm focusing on there. But it comes from the top all the way down through. But number 1 for me, and you guys have touched on it a little bit, he is going to be hands-on with Trevor Lawrence. He's going to call the plays. He has repeatedly talked about the development of Trevor Lawrence being the most important issue facing this team, and he's right. And, I mean, if that's not the reason for hope, Trevor wanted a young offensive guy. All right, you got your wish, Trevor. Now, there's no excuse. There's nothing. Not that there is an excuse. You're a professional going into, year 5 for you. We need to see better than we've seen on a consistently higher basis. You flashed. Baker flashed plenty, but he was taken to a new level in Tampa last year. It's the idea that this guy is going to come in here, improve the offensive line, take pressure off Trevor with a running game, which is something that Trevor Lawrence specifically addressed himself this offseason. And my hope is get his hands on Trevor and mold him into what he's capable of being. I don't know what the ceiling is for Trevor Lawrence, but let's find out, right? Get him to that ceiling, whatever that ceiling turns out to be. Tone, what do you got?
5-1. At 5, I had help the quarterback and offensive line affect the opponent's quarterback and offensive line is a game plan process. I like the clear goal, like week to week kind of thing coming from the coach. Recognizing the importance of getting the right defensive coordinator. That's steps they're already taking in that process. Number 3 for me was the Sean McVay influence, having coached for him over there in LA, and it's showing up in big time last year in Tampa as a play caller there with the Buccaneers. Number 2, what he did for Baker Mayfield, as you just mentioned, can he repeat that kind of thing for Trevor Lawrence, and exactly what could that mean for Trevor Lawrence and the football team going forward? And number 1 for me, because of how far away the group is, focus on getting the offensive line fixed. I know I already mentioned that as a game plan thing week to week, but I think it's this important to me, and the coach is willing to be this dedicated to it. It speaks to the running game improvement that you mentioned. It speaks to allowing Trevor Lawrence to succeed at the level that he can, but focus on really improving the offensive line. He says he wants to make the game easy for the quarterback and the O-line. They're going to need improvement from the quarterback and the players currently on or potentially added to the offensive line to make that kind of thing happen. So a focus on that. I don't think it's a one-year fix, right, on the offensive line. I don't know that there are options available to fix the problems that they have on the offensive line in a year, which is why when Dylan mentioned it and you brought up the Walker Little thing, right? Like, I don't think they can get off Walker Little this year necessarily, but I think they might be able to get off Walker Little at the end of the 2 years here and have a better plan and process for what they want to do. And the head coaching hire is more than about next week, right? And what the Jaguars are going to be doing, and having a coach coming in, being willing to say, this is where the focus has to be. Quarterback, line of scrimmage. And for a group that is having the issues that they've had over the past decade along the offensive line, to have a coach that's walking in and saying, we got to get this fixed before anything else is going to work the way that we want it to work, is a positive step. Again, I don't think that it's necessarily something you can get done in one offseason, but it's at least something I know they're always going to be focused on getting done.
All right, Dylan Denmark, what do you got?
Starting with 5, started with a clean slate with the GM. Number 4, young offensive guy. 3, it's all about Trevor. Most important relationship is between the play caller and the quarterback. 2, he was adamant yesterday about how he's going to fix the offensive line. And number 1, most important thing I took away from yesterday, he's calling plays. No, I'm bringing in this guy. We're going to see. You don't have to worry about a coordinator coming in. If the coordinator leaves, then how is that relationship going to be with your offense? This guy's calling plays, and if it's good, he should be here for a long time. That was my number 1 thing I took away from yesterday.
Somebody asked on the text line, how do we know about compatibility with the front office? They haven't even hired anyone for the position. The mere fact that he's going to have input on who the next GM is going to be, and they're coming in at the same time, would, to me, if you're a GM, your vision is going to have to be in line with what's already in place there to some degree.
Yeah.
Right. And so I absolutely think, at least put it this way, I am optimistic, and this is a list about optimism, that this is going to play out that way.
I don't know what it's going to look like in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, right? The relationship between the head coach and the GM. I'm comparing it to what it would have been whoever they hired. How compatible are they really with Trent Baalke still being in the picture, right? Like, it brings that question out at the moment they hired whoever they hired to be the head coach under Trent Baalke. Even if it was Coen,
right?
It would have been, all right, we'll see how this relationship works. They at least have the clean slate to figure out exactly what that's going to look like. We don't know what the results of any of that are going to be, but I feel better about the process of Liam Coen being involved with whoever they're going to be bringing in, and the comfort level they're all going to have with one another beginning in this process without all the baggage of that Trent Baalke would bring into whatever the process was at that point for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think that's more what we're trying to say today. It's definitely going to work with whoever they bring in. I like it better without Baalke being involved.
Yeah, and these are reasons for optimism. Doesn't mean those reasons will be fulfilled, right? Doesn't mean you're going to get everything you want along the way.
No.
And, there's going to be plenty of room for critique.
Unintended consequences, man. You don't know what those are going to be.
By the way, I couldn't think of situational masters, right? That's the phrase he used, situational masters. Thank you to all on the text line who threw that in. That was the S in fast. So, yeah, everyone's got a gimmick. And again, can't wait to whoever they hire at defensive coordinator tell us how aggressive they're going to be. And they want to be an attack-style defense, Tony, as opposed to a lay-back and react-style defense. Come on, all right? You know it's coming, but that's the way it is. All right, so thanks to everybody who submitted their top 5 reasons for optimism. Now let's get to work, and let's fill out this coaching staff, and let's, dissect what he does in terms of the hires. Let's say he hires Aubrey Pleasant. I'm not going to be able to tell you if Aubrey Pleasant's going to be a great defensive coordinator or not.
No.
I do like the fact that, Patrick Graham gets the job. He's got some experience, and whoever comes in is going to have to handle their business on that side of the ball, because there's going to be a lot on Liam Coen's plate on the offensive side. Speaking of on our plate, tomorrow we got Matt Miller from ESPN talking draft with us at 10:20, basically kicking off the program. And then it's another mock draft Wednesday. We're going to be doing another 7-rounder each over at Pro Football Network. So you can head there, do your own. You can do as many rounds or as few rounds as you like. Take a screenshot, send it in to us, and we'll look at some of the different permutations that you come up with for the Jacksonville Jaguars, trades included, if you do it over at ProFootballNetwork.com. Let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, Taylor Dahl, hello. Greetings.
Hello.
How are you?
Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith. How are you guys?
What's up?
Good.
Not much. A lot. I guess this last couple weeks has been a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think it's an exciting time. We talked a lot about it yesterday on Heels, just how it feels like a breath of fresh air that's been much needed around here for a lot of people. And I know that's us, that's fans, that's probably in the Jaguars building, honestly. And so it's just nice to see yesterday the fresh energy coming into the building.
Yeah, and like Tony said, winning the press conference, fine. Just don't lose it.
Yeah.
Don't get up there and have us going, oh no,
this doesn't sound
I didn't
ready.
get that from him. I'm taking this with an open mind, right? Because I've learned more about Liam Coen in the last few weeks than I'd known about him all the time prior to that. Well, I think like most people here. So was there any one thing he said yesterday that most stuck with you?
Yeah, I think for me, the emphasis on the offensive line, because it's been something we've talked about a lot on our show, on every show in the building. And I made a comment last year, and I remember right when the season was ending last year, and we were talking about kind of the collapse and how it happened and what needs to be fixed. And my comment at that time was they've got to fix this offensive line because we need to see what Trevor can be. And I don't know if we're ever going to be able to fully see that if we don't get the protection in front of him. And then obviously that turns into being able to have a run game and all these other things. So to me, that being such a focal point of what he wanted to talk about yesterday, and he did it in the presser, and then he also said it again with Frank Frangie. And so I do think, to me, that was one of the things that I was like, thank you. Thank you for just making this a thing of, we've all talked about it a million times, but to hear the head coach say one of his first things is this is what needs to be fixed.
All right, in addition to Liam Coen press conference dissection, what will you guys be doing today?
Yeah, we have our highlights today, so we'll go over some of our favorite plays. Maybe it's from the press conference, something like that that's happened this last week. We'll get into that. We'll also, a lot more Jaguars talk. We're getting into some things of more so the background of Liam Coen, what we can expect from his offenses, that type of stuff. So we have guests on all week from UMass, from Kentucky, from Tampa, to just kind of get what we can expect from a Liam Coen offense here in Jacksonville.
All right. Have a great show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Taylor Dahl, everybody. And that'll do it for us today. Again, Matt Miller from ESPN tomorrow. John Shipley going to join us in studio for the full show on Thursday. Look forward to Ship coming in, and we'll take your calls with John as always. And then Tom McManus on Friday. You get one more day of Dylan Denmark. Then we got ET producing on Thursday and Friday. So I hope you enjoyed the Tuesday Top 5 today, and I hope that Liam Coen pays off our reasons for optimism with a lot of wins in the near future, not down the road, in the near future with the Jags. The work has already begun, so let's get to it. All right, for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today, and stick around for Helmets and Heels up next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.